So, here we are, another biopic. Hopefully, especially since this is about somebody that I don't have that much knowledge of, maybe, hopefully, this can be, at the very least, an entertaining biopic instead of a generic one. Hopefully.
One love, one heart, one destiny.
Bob Marley, One Love is directed by Reinaldo Marcus Green, with a screenplay from Terence Winter, Frank E. Flowers, and Zach Baylin, and Reinaldo Marcus Green, and a story by Terence Winter and Frank E. Flowers. The film stars Kingsley, Ben-Adir, Lashana, Lynch, and James Norton. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, the story of how reggae icon Bob Marley overcame adversity and the journey behind his revolutionary music. First things first, I don't know that much about Bob Marley. Not only is he a famous reggae musicianist, but he is considered one of the most iconic musicians of not just his generation, but just of all time. He not only brought reggae to the mainstream, but he helped at a time where his country needed it the most, because of course there was a civil war going on between two political factions. I just don't know that much about the man besides like the general basic information about him. Hopefully the film will enlighten me on who Bob Marley actually was as a person, as a musicianist, like what makes him such this iconic figure in music history. Why is that? So in some ways I think there are some good things I really do enjoy about this film. In other ways, this film I think suffers in certain areas that I found the film to be kind of disappointing by the end. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It is very disappointing to say the least. But before I can really give my problems with the film that I saw, here are some of the positives that I found with this film that, for myself, I did find myself enjoying. Performances, I think, are stellar. I mean, Kingsley Ben-Adir as Bob Marley, I think is amazing. He captures the mannerisms and spirit of the actual Marley. Like, I've seen clips of Marley and how he has acted, and so seeing an actor portray an iconic figure like this, I mean, that's already a tall order to fill, because that person was such a larger-than-life person, or in this case with Bob Marley, he was such a genuinely down-to-earth type of person that how could you even capture that? And I think he does really well, especially whenever he has like conversations with his wife. I think Ben-Adir really sinks into Marley really well. Like I said, I think he really does get that vibe of who Bob Marley actually was, and I think he did a great job of capturing that feeling of him. Speaking of his wife, Lashana Lynch as Rhea Marley, I think is also incredible throughout. I mean, Lashana plays Rhea as a wife who believes in her husband's cause, but the belief that her country could see peace. You know, of course, this civil war is just devastating Jamaica, and you feel that pain not only just on Bob Marley, but on his wife as well. I just think she also plays a wife that sticks with Marley through and through. This is somebody who has gone through so much of her life with the man that she loves, cares deeply about him, and it really genuinely shows their relationship in this way, at least in the movie's way, of being a relationship that just was never easy. But I think together, I think both Ben-Adir and Lynch are fantastic. The conversations that they have with each other, I think, really helps carry this movie. Just having those two actors alone playing these characters keeps the film going. I think the direction is great. I think Reinaldo Marcus Green captures the feeling of Bob Marley's spirit and the feeling of his music. I mean, because that's the key thing that you have to do with an iconic figure like Bob Marley, is you have to at least capture not just his spirit, but just his music. Seeing the conversations as well, it shows that Marcus Green really shines the most with those intimate moments with Bob and Rhea, and I think it really shines the best. When the music plays, I think Marcus Green even captures the like free nature of who Marley was when he was performing. This loving, opening type of person, but just a loving, carefree person, if you will. And I think it works really well to the strength of his direction and how he handles that. I think the music is amazing. There is a score, of course. Chris Bowers, yes, the composer who recently did the score for Origin, but really the movie is mostly licensed music, and I want to highlight that because I didn't really much see of Chris Bauer's score, at least from what I heard, because most of the time it's just filled a lot with Bob Marley's music. I think that it works well into the film, especially when it's used for like concert sequences to recreate moments in Marley's life, and I think it works really best with capturing the low points of his life. So yeah, I think it works really well. The cinematography I think is incredible. Robert Elswit, who did The Town, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and Rogue Nation, and King Richard, which that was his first collaboration with Reinaldo and Marcus Green, captures what I think is Marley's mindset and the look of Jamaica beautifully. I mean, when the camera is centered on Bob and Rhea, the intimate moments are captured, I think, really well due to the camera work that keeps it personal and keeps you engaged with those two throughout. And just the look of Jamaica is incredible, man. It really makes Jamaica, and it is, because I've been there myself, it looks incredible. It looks beautiful with what they're capturing. Although, of course, it does capture the unrest civil war that's going on. But I'm just saying, like, when it captures the beauty of it, it's really beautiful. The production, I think, is fantastic. From the costumes, sets, and the props, it really does capture the era in which Bob Marley was most famous, of course, in the 70s. A lot of care went into making the film resemble the 70s, Jamaica as well as England, because they do show England as well, but really just the 70s very well with regards to, like I said, the production design of this. So I think it works really well to the movie's credit, and I also think that the writing can be good. The conversations that Bob has with everyone goes beyond just Marley's music by also touching on trying to find peace and unity with people together. Like that's what Bob Marley was. He was somebody who wanted people to have peace with each other. And I think the conversations that they do have do echo that feeling of who Bob Marley is, and I think it works really well due to the performances of Ben-Adir and Lynch, but some of the actors who are in the film throughout. While I do think that there are aspects of this movie I do enjoy, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it does unfortunately miss the beat on a few things that I have to mention. Here are the negatives with this one. I think the story, to me, I think is all over the place. The film just goes in different ways. At the beginning of the film, it shows Marley and Rhea's assassination attempt at the beginning of the movie, and then all of a sudden it will then transition to like when Bob Marley was a boy, growing up. I just don't feel like the film flows really well with what they were trying to tell when something like that happens. Like when you have something of like this monument and then you just transition into a flashback of when he's like a boy and all that stuff. It to me just is all over the place with regards to how the story just flows throughout. And although I do like the young actors who play both Marley and Rhea, and seeing how Bob Marley gets his like start, I just still feel like the film is just unfocused with regards to its story. It's just, to me, just picking up pieces, fragments from Bob Marley's life while also trying to say this is how he got his start. And what's funny is that I found him, meeting Rhea, and how he started his music career to be more fascinating than the moments in the present day, which is, I think, the disappointing part about it is you would kind of want to be invested in the modern storyline, but when you watch it, you're like, yeah, but I would rather watch when he was younger rather than present day Bob Marley at this time and place. I also think that the pacing just goes by way too fast. I do understand that this movie is almost 2 hours. It's like an hour and 47 minutes. I still think they should have been able to like pace this film in a way that didn't need to cram everything in. Because like I said, they try so hard to cram everything in about Bob Marley as best as possible. And by doing that, I just think that they just rush through everything. That it just speeds run through Marley's like life at that point. It just feels like you don't really get to sink in everything that happened with Bob Marley. You're just told, like, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. And that's about it. It just doesn't really feel like it flows naturally with the story. It just goes by things so quickly that you're just kind of trying to catch up with everything. I also think the film doesn't do anything new within the genre. I mean, this is a biopic. We've seen Hollywood do this multiple times with multiple biopics on how I feel like ever since the 2000s, biopics have always kind of followed a formula. I understand movies follow formulas, but when you get to a point where biopics just kind of do the same thing over and over and over and over again, I wish there was something new. Like, what can stand out about this film amongst the plethora of others. Like, to me, sometimes I think a biopic will try something new. In the case of something like 2019's Rocket Man, as much as some people may have their opinions on that, whether it be good or bad, you can't deny it did do something a little bit new. They did try to take a more fantastical musical approach to it rather than your stereotypical biopic. So I give them credit for that, because otherwise you get just another, Walk the Line, which I don't mind that movie, but you have something like that, or Bohemian Rhapsody, which, yeah, it's funny how when you watch something when you were young versus now, your perception changes. But yeah, I just think, unfortunately, that's just not the case here. I just think that, to me, this is just another formulaic biopic that just doesn't do anything new with it. And then, of course, lastly, I just think that for as much as this film is centered on Bob Marley, the focal point of this movie, I still don't feel like I know him. Like, I really don't. It's almost like the film touches the surface of him, only hitting, like, the main points of his life that you may have heard about. Like, I heard about the assassination attempt. I heard about he did a concert after that assassination attempt. Like, I knew about that, and of course I knew that he was all about love and peace, but, like, I just don't feel like I personally got to know the man behind that music. I just kind of felt like I knew a surface level version of this person rather than the full picture. It's just kind of disappointing that they just didn't go any deeper with that. Though, really, this isn't a terrible film, you guys. I just do think that for a movie that I was kind of anticipated to see what they could do with it, I just walked away kind of feeling very disappointed with it, that I just wish it could have been better than what it was. So, I give Bob Marley One Love a 6 out of 10. It's okay at best. I just think that it could have been much better with regards to its story, pacing, trying to shake things up within the genre, or trying to go deeper with who Bob Marley is. It just, unfortunately, the film just has this thing of it's just another biopic, which is something that I think most people would say, alright, well, hopefully the next one will be better, hopefully. So I will soon be reviewing Dune and Dune Part 2. Sorry for this still being a little bit slow with reviews. Doing my best here, you guys, and I'm sorry that this review might be a little bit shorter than usual. I apologize, but I'm trying to get through these things as quick as possible because soon I gotta do Kung Fu Panda, and then soon Kung Fu Panda 4. So yeah, look forward to those reviews and other movie TV show reviews coming soon.